Hey YouTube, this is Cajun DIY Diva, and I haven't made a video in a while, so I was just thinking about ingredients that were left over in my fridge, and I had broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots, and I thought, and I'm trying to do gluten-free lately, so I'm going to make a quick it's going to taste like a broccoli cheese soup. I didn't put the cheese out on here. That's the only ingredient really missing. But this is a super easy recipe. Let's get started. So we have, like I said, some carrots, broccoli, cauliflower. I'm going to chop that onion. I've got salt, cracked black pepper. I have a little Cajun seasoning, a little Creole seasoning. I like to put a little dash of that in everything I cook because I'm Cajun. I have some garlic powder because I ran out of fresh garlic, and I want a little more garlic flavor than I think I have 2 cloves. It's not really enough. I want a little bit more. I have some chicken broth and some half and half. You could put heavy cream, but I don't really go there with the heavy cream. That's kind of a little too indulgent for me. But I promise you, this is going to taste great without that extra fat. So I'm going to chop up these vegetables and then we're going to get started. Okay, so I got everything chopped up. It's all very coarsely chopped because I am going to use my handy dandy little blender thing to puree the soup after the vegetables get cooked and they're nice and soft. So what else could you put in this soup? And I've got my beautiful big red pot heating up. I'm going to put some olive oil. But what else could you put in this soup? If you want to shred some zucchini, or you don't have to shred it, you could dice it up. But shred it if you don't feel like pureeing it, just chop it up as fine as you can. You could put some butternut squash. Whatever you got left over in the fridge is going to work. Probably even some yellow squash would work. I'll tell you what, the squashes, when you puree it, it comes out really nice, kind of creamy, and it just makes a really nice texture. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add the onion first. So my pot, I feel the heat. I always like to preheat my pot. I'm giving it a little swirl of olive oil. You could use butter, but if you use butter, I always like to add a little oil so that the butter doesn't burn. So now let me set my camera down, and I will get my onions. And let those get going. That's what you want to hear, that little sizzle. I don't like to add food to a cold pot. I like for it to preheat and get that nice little sizzle going. Now I'll get out my, I like to use wooden forks when I cook. I may switch hands here. I think that's part of a Cajun thing for me, is using the wooden fork, because, I don't know, that's the way my mom did it, and that's the way I like to do it. I do have like a spoonula, which is like a rubber spatula that's shaped like a spoon, but I think it's in the dishwasher right now. So all I want to do is, you could even skip this step, but the reason I'm putting the oil in and sauteing the onions first. By the way, if I was putting in fresh garlic, I would cook the onion a little bit and then add the garlic, because you don't want the garlic to burn. It could burn while you're cooking it. But for one thing, it makes the house smell like food if you cook the onions ahead of time. It smells so good. And the other thing is it caramelizes the onion, which brings out the sugar and just gives it a good flavor. So this takes a few minutes. What I like to do is let it cook on, just kind of spread it out as even as I can. No holes in the bottom. Make sure onion is touching every spot in the bottom of the pan. Let that cook for a few minutes, then stir it up, kind of turn them over, and get them on the other side. Okay, my onions are sizzling away, and oops, there's a little black part. Maybe I went a little too far with that, but I promise you, you won't taste it. So they've got a nice color on them now. So what I'm going to do now is grab my other veggies and throw them in, and then I'm going to get my chicken broth. Okay, I'm putting in my carrots. And my broccoli and cauliflower. And now I am going to put in my chicken broth. And yeah, oh, steam. Now, you could use this kind of chicken broth in a one of these cartons. I'm probably going to need more. I'm going to need more liquid than what was in this. So I'll add some more water and maybe a little bouillon. Probably all I'll need is just water. This is some organic chicken broth, but you know, use whatever you want. You could use just water and add some chicken base, which I love to use. I love chicken base. Or just bouillon. And you know, you could use vegetable bouillon. Don't use beef or pork, I don't think. Probably wouldn't go that well. But I'm going to add a little more water to cover the top of the veggies so they can cook. Okay, so I added another about 2 cups of water. So that's about 6 cups of broth, liquid, 1 onion, half a head of cauliflower, 1 head of broccoli, and about a cup of carrots. And so now I'm going to just add in about a teaspoon of salt. That was kosher salt. I'm going to do, I've done this many times, so I know, but that's about half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and I'm going to do about half a teaspoon of Creole seasoning, and I'm going to wait for pepper because I don't want to over pepper it, and there is pepper in that Creole seasoning. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to let it cook until the vegetables get soft, and I'll be back. Alright, so my soup is boiling, and I think the vegetables are almost there. I'm leaving the lid off because once I add the cream, that'll be more liquid in there, and I don't want too much liquid. And I want to see what happens when I puree the vegetables to see if it needs more. So I'm just kind of pressing to see if they're all cooked all the way. The carrots, I think, could cook a little bit longer. So it probably takes about 20 minutes to cook the vegetables all the way. Okay, so I think all the vegetables are nice and soft now. So what I'm going to do is turn off the heat completely. And I'm going to try to puree this without spraying it all over my kitchen. and we'll see how this goes. So I just like to kind of keep it on the bottom of the pot and kind of move it around until the whole thing is pureed. And it takes a couple of minutes. So I'll be back. Okay, so I just finished pureeing it. And let me tell you, let me turn this overhead light on so you can see better. I don't know if that helps. It's already beautiful and creamy. If you want, like if you're dieting or something, just eat it like this because it's actually really tasty the way it is with the onions, the seasonings, and the chicken broth. It tastes pretty darn good just the way it is, but we're going to make it extra special. So first I'm going to add in about a cup of shredded cheese. Come on, cheese, let go. Hold on just a second. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to flip you all over the place. Put in the cheese and let me get my cream out. Okay, so here we are. Just stir that in. I put the heat back on like a medium-low because I don't want the cheese to burn. I just want it to gently mix in there. Now, if you like spicy, you know, you might want to try some maybe pepper jack cheese or add in some red pepper flakes to add a little spice to this, or you know, the cracked black pepper, but I kind of like it the way it is without over spicing it. So now here comes the beautiful part. Just going to pour in some of that, half and half. That was about a cup or so. Look at that! Is that not beautiful? That's beautiful. So what I'm going to do is just let this simmer, not more than maybe 5 minutes. I just want all the flavors to blend and that cream to heat. The cheese is pretty much already melted. You can see how it's coating the spoon like that. But I just want everything to heat and the flavors to blend, and I'm going to serve this in a bowl.